Well, we have it. The running order of both semifinal is out. That means the two of us get to talk about it. Let's go right ahead and let's talk Eurovision. What's up, you fools? Matt, ESCunited, your favorite Eurovision channel. Welcome to a different setup here as we are in beautiful Amsterdam getting ready for Eurovision in concert tomorrow, actually, right? So, Sean and I are here. We still got to talk Eurovision. It's,
of course,
always have to, because a couple of days ago, the running order for both semifinals have been released, and we didn't have a chance to talk about it, so why not do it right here, right now? Semi-final one. Are you ready?
I think as ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I want to hear. So, let's put this on the screen real quick for everyone to see. As you can see, we have Cyprus opening the show. Cyprus opening, and then a bunch of countries. We're going to go through all of them one by one, but we just talk overall. With Cyprus opening the show, San Marino closing it. It's a very interesting layout, and then as it goes, a bunch of countries in between. Sean, first impression when you saw the running order of the first semi?
I think the first thing I saw was obviously San Marino closing.
That was
out
like
of nowhere. Serhat has just decided to, we've got the 16 songs before it, and then Serhat's just going to sweep in, steal the show at the end.
Oh, so that's what
Yeah.
Do you think they really did that just to throw them a bone kind of thing here, last one, or is it really...
Yeah, I think San Marino have been, quite good to Eurovision, basically. They've always been there, they've been trying, they've never quite really made it, apart from the one time, obviously, in the final.
By one point, right?
Yeah, and Serhat did it really well last time, so I think, they decided this time, let's give him a shot. He's got a good up-tempo number, it's memorable, it's got a hook that people can sing along to, so yeah, it's a good closer, just not one I expected.
Yeah, and I think that actually the song, to me, before was I had it as a borderline non-qualifier. Like, I just had it outside the top 10 in my predictions. Maybe the running order will work in its favor. It doesn't always mean everything, but if it comes across well and it's memorable enough, it could.
It depends on the show. Again, we don't know what he's got up his sleeve. He's he's a very imaginative man. I'm sure he's got a lot of ideas for what he wants to do. Yeah. So it could be a surprise in Tel Aviv.
But I'm also saying that I was very surprised to see Cyprus opening the show. That is not what I expected. I did like my own kind of, running order before, the official one was released. And I thought Cyprus would be closer to the end of the first half, which they were drawn into like 8 or 9. So basically the slot that Belarus got would go to Cyprus because, big hype. Yeah. But I do think that they take a lot of things into consideration, right? Male, female singers, the kind of genre that they have, make sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes languages, but they also take into consideration previous running orders, because Cyprus...
Above all, they just try to make it a good TV show for people to watch, because obviously, first and foremost, we know it's a singing competition and we enjoy the competition aspect, but it is a TV show. It's an entertainment show.
It is a TV show, yeah, but they cannot do a TV show without the country. So if, let's say, they would always put Cyprus in the running order, the first 5, at some point the delegation would be like, what the heck?
Yeah.
You always put us first.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a cool thing.
Yeah,
We're out.
So
they have to take that into consideration.
And obviously they went last year. So,
and second to last in the finals on top of it. So they got
they've got to take their turn this year.
And keep in mind, first is actually a pretty good running order, in the semis at least. In the finals, different story. But in the semis, going first, you set the tone, right? You get an upbeat song, get people into the mood, and the song that performs first often qualifies. Think of last year, Norway in the second semifinal, they won that semi.
Yeah.
Although that didn't quite work out. Then in the finals, they dropped to about 14th. But the point is, you can do really well from the first slot. So I don't think this is really a song that will bring everyone, to their feet right away and have fun. And I think it's not a bad running slot at all. So if you have to go in the first half, may as well either go at the very beginning or maybe the last one, the first half. So I think Cyprus should be pretty pleased. I always think, though, do they put in second place always the throwaway song?
It's a little bit harsh, I think, on Montenegro to say that, but I can see where you're coming from. And before we did this video, I had a little listen through to the recaps that Eurovision.tv did to see how it flowed. And Montenegro coming after Cyprus, it does seem a little bit sacrificial, I could say. Obviously, the different types of songs completely, but Cyprus really grabs your attention, and I think in that first half of that semi-final, it is a good opener. You know, it's something that will make people sit up, take notice, and get people dancing and enjoy it. And you know, Montenegro is a slightly different type of song. I don't know what else you could have really put there.
Yeah, it has to be a slower-ish. So I mean, Montenegro's not like it's like a Balkan ballad, but it's not that slow. And we both have kind of a soft spot for Montenegro anyway, so it's not like we'll leave it. But I do think that the vibe, feel overall by the fan community and by experts, is that Montenegro, it's a long shot.
And the only other option you would have really had in that first half, I would say, is probably Hungary that you could have put there. And I think it would have been a little bit too jarring to put Hungary after Cyprus.
That would have been really weird. Yes, but it's interesting because this has been a really weird year, like the allocation as far as like what half, because each half is so the opposite of diverse. Yeah. Like this half has all the language songs, right? And often a lot of slow songs. We have Cyprus as an upbeat song, and then basically Belarus, Czech Republic-ish. But, that's it. All the other ones are fairly slower or not as mid-tempo at best. Finland is a little bit of a dancey song as well. But it's certainly a lot of Hungary, Slovenia, Montenegro, Serbia, all of these songs.
It's an interesting start to the year, basically. I think this whole semi-final, when you go through to the second half as well, there's a real contrast between the two semi-finals.
Yes.
Obviously, they couldn't have planned this because they don't know what people are going to pick. They don't know what songs are going to make it to Eurovision. People say that the bloodbath is in semi-final too when you look at the countries. Mm-hmm. But, the songs might tell a different story.
I'm curious to talk a little bit more about that. I pointed out earlier as well, I find it very interesting. Again, that's just the lack of the draw, that all these language songs come almost one after another. Like we started with 3 English songs, right? Cyprus, Montenegro, Finland. And then we get Poland, Slovenia, then Hungary, and Serbia. Yes, they're squeezed like Belarus and Czech Republic for the most part. They all come like boom, boom, boom in a row.
And even if you extend it to Georgia,
a little bit. They could have moved Finland a little bit further down after Poland or Slovenia because, you didn't have Poland isn't that slow either, So I feel like they could have moved around this a little bit.
I look at that, I think maybe they didn't want to put Darude first because maybe he's, I don't know,
because
he's a bigger name, they don't want to...
I mean, later I thought maybe.
I could have seen it as an opener, but I don't know, maybe they thought it would be better to have something like Cyprus, which is potentially a little bit more modern.
So if you look at the first half, is there a song that you think... I mean, it's the semifinals. Running orders are often not quite as significant as in the finals. But would you say there is, for the lack of a better word, loser? The biggest loser?
I think Montenegro... Montenegro is an interesting one because you could have put it anywhere in that first half and it really would have been... it would have looked strange next to the songs that it's with. I suppose. But I think coming between Cyprus and Finland, it's really got a sort of tough job there.
It is.
Other than that, I mean, Slovenia has got its market. Certain people will like it, and obviously it's a great song. I think personally it's great. It's atmospheric, but
yes, very much so.
Is it going to shrink into the background between Poland and Czech Republic, which is sort of quite interesting?
Yeah.
Sort of, big, they're interesting songs, they're up-tempo. I just wonder whether it's going to be a little bit too subdued in between the two.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I said in one of my other videos, is Slovenia my biggest concern is I like the song as well, just like you. It is very atmospheric, like a very specific mood. And I'm worried, is it so early in the running order? It's the kind of mood that evaporates by the end because there's so many other songs that maybe then this will be forgotten. If this would have been like second to last of the night, I would have been a little bit more confident. But right now, it's a little a big question mark there.
I don't think the position of Slovenia is really too bad because 5 songs in, everything's still new and fresh, and people are still, the general public will still be watching with interest, and this will be something different. But I just think between the 2 songs that it's with, I'm not sure if it will stand out as much as it possibly could have done.
All right, well, let's take a look at the second half. We got Belgium was put first in the second half. Georgia, Australia, Iceland, Estonia, Portugal, Greece, and as we pointed out, San Marino closing the show. And interestingly enough, once again, a really odd allocation here.
Yeah.
Because 2 female singers and then the rest are male vocalists.
What a half. What a half to the semi-final. There's certainly, I'd say some of the bigger shows in this year's contest are probably in that half. I mean, you look at Australia, we can pretty much guess what the staging's going to be like.
Well, they said they're going to go different out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they said they're going to change the staging. We don't know what, but they're not going to do the big dress thing. I don't know if they're going to keep the gravity person in the back.
But it's going to be something as big.
Yes, it's going to be something
to get rid of
visually...
that, to make it something else. It's got to be something big. Iceland is Iceland. Everything that's been said about that song has been said. You know, obviously Portugal is a unique song. Greece, I think, could have quite a good staging. Again, we've already talked about San Marino. I think Estonia is still going to use the visual effects that they had in Isral.
I would think so.
So yeah, I mean, in that second half, it's going to be staging after staging after staging. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
I'm really worried about Estonia, and I don't care what people think about the songs, like whether you like it or not, but we can say all Australia, Iceland, and Portugal are bizarre to polarizing, right? All three songs. And then there's Estonia, eye-catching, yeah. So whether you like them or not, they will be memorable, eye-catching. Yeah. Even melodically, it's outstanding. And Estonia is a very radio-friendly pop song. I'm worried that this could kind of be a drown between all these visual feasts.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to look at that second half of the semi-final, I'd probably say out of all of them, Estonia's probably been, it's had its chances potentially reduced, being put where it is in the semi-final. I mean, it's coming after Iceland, which is obviously a really, you stand up and take notice of Iceland this year. You can't not.
Yeah.
They're so unique and so different. And then obviously Portugal, again, very different, very unique, very visual. Estonia, it's a good song. It's an up-tempo pop song, very Avicii, and the sound is in at the moment. But you just wonder whether it's just maybe a bit too ordinary between some of the songs that are in that half of the semi-final to stand out, and that's where I worry about them a little bit.
Yes, no, it is definitely not the best draw. Greece has a great draw, second to last with that, and I always had it as a qualifier anyway, but now I feel it because in my prediction video initially before I knew the running order, I set Greece as the potential winner of the semi. It's looking better and better for them because I do think Greece, unlike some of the other more polarizing songs, I think has more of a broader appeal for both juries and televoters.
Yeah.
While others see it could be a more discrepancy. I think that it could potentially be the Norway of last year, where it's like second with the juries, third with the televoters, but enough to win.
Really polarizing.
Yes.
Yeah. One thing I would say about that second half, though, and sort of in the middle, really, is where you look at that block where you've got Serbia, Belgium, and Georgia. I worry about, in particular, maybe Belgium out of that lot because it's it's a good song. It's a modern song. It's contemporary. It's something you would hear on the radio. I would say, but does it stand out enough? And when you see the songs that are coming up later on, are people going to remember it?
Yes.
Are the televoters going to remember it? Are the jury's going to really sit up and take notice of it? That's what I worry about.
Belgium needs a big push from the juries, I have a feel, to really guarantee its qualification. Serbia, before right there, Nevena, I mean, her it's all about the vocal, so she will vocally very, very memorable and impressive. Elliot's song is very calm, soothing, that could, I'm just worried it's going to be a 2018 repeat kind of thing with Belgium, which I don't want to happen. And then Georgia, the WTF song after that. In a good way, I'm not saying that, it's just like, again, a bizarre entry, because then it's Bizarro World is starting for a few.
But then even Georgia coming after Belgium, it's a big bellowing type of entry. And, people go, wow, he's got a great vocal, really raspy, rocky kind of vocal.
Yeah.
Is that going to overshadow Belgium again? That's, it's just one of those things. And Belgium, I don't know where you would have put it in that second half or first half, or
That's the worst. I think for them it's the worst case scenario, the running order for them, because first one and the second half and all the big ones coming afterwards, I'm a little worried.
Yeah.
So if we pick the two biggest winners of the draw and the two biggest losers, the biggest winners in your view? I'm going to say mine.
Question. I'll say San Marino.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, I think San Marino sometimes they do need a little bit of extra help for some of their songs, and I know that this song in particular seems to have struck a chord with Eurovision fans, particularly on our forum.
Yes.
A lot more than some of their entries might have done recently. So there's already a bit of an appreciation for it. It's closing the semi-final. It's going to be fun. It's going to put a smile on people's faces. It's going to be catchy. People are going to remember it. And I think going right at the end, having that as your last sort of memory of the semi-final before you go into the vote, and I think is going to be quite effective for them. And I think another winner, probably Czech Republic.
Really?
I would have to say, looking at it, because it's what I've seen from some of the polls recently is that Czech Republic's maybe it's sort of people have forgotten about it a little bit. It's not really as standout as it was when it was first picked, because obviously it was one of the first songs. So I think between Slovenia and Hungary, where they're both quite down tempo, subdued, I think it's
non-English, different languages.
It's got an opportunity to really stand out and be different there. So,
that's a good observation. I didn't even notice that, because I initially had Portugal and San Marino. Portugal just is, out of all the Bizarro songs, the last one to go. So that'll definitely work in its favour as well.
Well, I think I would say Iceland and Portugal are winners out of this, but I think you could have put them anywhere in this semi-final and they would have still stood out, because they are just so different.
That is true. That is true. Now, as far as the biggest losers are concerned, I think we both said Montenegro probably. Losers, keep in mind, we're not talking about they're losers as countries or artists. It's just the luck of the draw, if you will. Not that you're going to take it personally. I think Montenegro's second running order, right after Cyprus and before Finland. Yes, they want to switch it up. I think that's going to...
And I just worry about Belgium and Estonia maybe getting overshadowed.
Yeah, so between those three, so we have to pick three, I guess.
Yeah.
So Montenegro, Belgium, and Estonia are our biggest question marks. But it's possible that they all can qualify, because we had it before, where like 6 songs in a row qualified all. Like
I think it happened last year, didn't it?
I think it was the year with Portugal. I think it was the year before, I want to say. I could be wrong, but it's either the year before. Yeah, I think it's 2 years ago, where like 6 songs in a row qualified, and then one song didn't qualify, and then the next one qualified as well. So it can happen. These are just observations, and Estonia can easily squeeze through if people like it. But these are our observation of the first semifinal. What do you think? Who do you think is the biggest winner or the biggest loser? Now, or which song you think did the producers do the right thing, or did they mess it up? Let us know in the comment section below. We would love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.